Hi everyone, my name is Annie Rummel and I want to welcome you to the Go Great live presentation of the Bay City Tall Ships Celebration.
Hi everyone, this is Amber Bally from the Great Lakes Bay Regional Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm the Travel Marketing Manager and I want to welcome you all to downtown Bay City for the Tall Ships Celebration. It's taking place today through Sunday from 10 to 5, where you are able to tour all these 12 boats that we have here. They're just gorgeous. After you tour the boats at 5 o'clock, there's also a Ballads and Brews festival, maritime music, as well as drinks and entertainment. We are going to have our booth here set up in Winona Park, where you're able to pick up all of our visitor information. Friday through Sunday, 10 to 5 will be open, so stop by and ask us any questions. Feel free to walk around downtown Bay City. A lot of the pubs and restaurants are having special discounts, and the 12 ships here come from all over the world, including Norway, Spain, and many other countries. We also have one Viking ship that's just beautiful. Please stop by and check out these ships. It's very unique and there's nothing like it.
Tall Ship Celebration takes about 24 to 30 months to plan, from all levels, starting at the local level to the national level, where we coordinate efforts with the American Sail Training Association or Tall Ships America. They pull together the fleet of ships that tours around the Great Lakes, and so we do a lot of coordinating with them as well as local, people.
So how do you find the ships?
Most of them are members of the Tall Ships America Association. Some of them expressed interest in coming to the U.S. Sometimes the national organization puts feelers out and tries to put together a fleet of ships that would be unique, things that we've never seen before. A perfect example this year in 2016, of course, is the Norwegian ship Draken and the Spanish ship El Galeon Andalusia.
Has El Galeon been here before?
No. El Galeon has never been here before, and neither has Draken. The other vessel that is new to the Great Lakes and new to our event is When and If, a beautiful little schooner that was commissioned by General George S. Patton. quite a few many years ago, as you can imagine. We were expecting pretty significant crowds this year for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is the incredible vessels we have here. But I would have to say the crowds yesterday and today are probably the biggest we've ever seen.
Matt and I here are from Delta College.
QTV, WDCQ.
All right,
QTV.
WDCQ. I never say what. Okay. Matt and I are here from WDCQ, Delta College Public Broadcasting, and we had an opportunity to ride the El Galleon from Fairport Harbor up through Bay City for the Tall Ships Festival. We had originally planned to do a documentary on the Tall Ship Festival about the second time it came through Bay City, but it never quite fit into our schedule. And when we found out it was coming back to Bay City in 2016, we decided that we were going to make a big push for it and try to convince the powers that be at the station to let us do it. And I think we convinced them because they said okay. And so we decided to contact the people we needed to contact, and we got aboard the El Galleon, which is the largest ship here today. It's a 17th century replica of a Spanish galleon, a one-to-one replica, and it is unbelievably cool. Can I like stop there?
Oh, live.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, you're live. Oh, live. Hi, people. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, we boarded in Fairport Harbor after making all the arrangements with the company in Spain, who's the foundation that runs the ship, and they have a sister ship also. And we made arrangements to get on in Fairport Harbor, and we showed up on Sunday afternoon to Fairport Harbor and got a few shots of what Fairport Harbor was all about, and we had an opportunity to meet the crew, get on board about 6 o'clock, and they weren't leaving until Tuesday morning, so that gave us an opportunity to meet the crew, get a lay for the boat, figure out where things were, where we were going to sleep, where the bathrooms were, where the showers were, where the kitchen was, all that kind of stuff. So we had a really good time the first day meeting the crew, and then letting them getting used to us so that we wanted to really become part of the crew, and I think we succeeded in that, because we go back now just being here, and they think we're family, which was really cool. And so we had the opportunity to leave on Tuesday, and we headed out Lake Erie up through Detroit, Port Huron, into Lake Huron, and then into Saginaw Bay, and we got into Saginaw Bay on Wednesday or Thursday, and we hit about 25-mile-an-hour winds, which forced us to stay out on the lake for about 8 hours longer than we were supposed to. There was supposed to be a big parade of sail where the boats all come in at the same time in a line, and unfortunately we're the largest boat, and the wind was giving havoc, not so much out on the bay. It was going to cause problems when we came into the river if it was going to continue to blow at 25 miles an hour, because there was a chance that the way the wind was blowing, it would push the boat into the bridges as we passed the 3 bridges so the captain made a decision to stay out there as long as he could. And finally, when the Draken came rowing in late Wednesday night, the Madeline, is it the Madeline? Which one?
The Niagara.
The Niagara came right behind them, and the captain made the decision to get behind them and all come in. And so we all came in down the river at sunset. We got beautiful images, and we ended up tying up to the dock about 11 p.m. that night.
And if you're ever interested, they do take volunteers, but you have to get to the boat yourself. They don't pay for you to get to the boat. They'll take volunteers. But just to warn you, the bathroom, like the stalls are like this wide, and that's the shower too. So the toilets and the showers are about this wide, and the beds are just we figured they're about 6'3". So if you're taller than 6'3", they got to put you at a special bunk that they've cut a hole so you can put your feet through. They have 2 of them on the El Galleon. Yeah. So the rest of us we were basically just head to toe touching, and then if you sat up too quick in the morning, you'd hit your head. I had a pipe right above me. I did it once, just once.
Yeah, and the bunks, the second bunk, there's 2. We got a bottom bunk and a top bunk. Well, the top bunk's about 5 feet off the floor, maybe 5.5 feet off the floor. So the way it works on a ship, especially one like this, is they have 3 crew things where there's 4 on, 8 off, and 4 on, 8 off, 4 on, 8 off. So people are sleeping during the day who worked the night shift. People are sleeping at night who worked the day. You know, there's always somebody sleeping down there, and it's always dark. But that's your home because your luggage is there, your equipment's there, and you have to be super quiet because you don't want to wake anybody up. And we had little flashlights and walking around trying to make our way around as the ship's moving, and you try to respect the privacy, although there is no privacy. But I heard somebody call it virtual privacy. You just kind of ignore what's going on if you don't need to know what's going on over there, or you don't need to see what's going on over there. But we had an outstanding time. I think I would do it again. I don't know about Matt, but
I don't know. If I did, I'd probably bring a hard hat. We hit our heads a lot.
a lot.
They have a tradition that when you hit your head, you're supposed to say good morning to the ship. So we wound up saying good morning to that ship a lot.
Yeah. And I had this little scab I picked off the other day off the top of my head. I must have hit it 50 times.
You might want to talk about the fact of doing a documentary. Maybe it's just because of what I do. I mentioned, how did you get battery power?
Okay, we'll talk about that. Our plan for the documentary we're doing, it's going to be called Sailing into the Past, and it's going to be about the first 45 minutes of a 90-minute documentary will be our trip aboard the ship, what it takes them to run the ship, what the ship is all about, how things are laid out, different kind of things like that behind the scenes on the ship. But it's also going to include that 8 hours we spent in the storm. When I wouldn't call it a storm, but it was a windstorm. It was really, really windy out there. And so that, it didn't intentionally start out to have that in the story, but we're going to include that because it's part of the story. We were out there 8 hours when we should have been in. And we talked to the pilots on the boat. An interesting thing about the pilot is that because this is a foreign boat, any foreign boat in the Great Lakes has to have an American pilot come aboard and guide it through different areas from Ohio to Bay City. We had one guy get on in Fairport Harbor. He went all the way to Detroit. A boat came up in Detroit. A new pilot got on, and the old pilot got off. And that pilot from Detroit took us to Port Huron. In Port Huron, we had another boat come up. He got off. Another pilot came on, and he took us from Port Huron to Bay City. And it's $400 an hour these guys get paid. So, and it comes out of the budgets of the boat. The Tall Ship Festival doesn't pay for that. And that's one of the reasons we left on Tuesday rather than Monday, which was our original scheduled plan, is because that was an extra, $400 times 24 that they would have had to shell out. So they decided to leave on Tuesday. But people ask us, how do you shoot something on a ship where you got to be self-contained and you got to just, and we had to, the only thing we had to bring were adapters for electrical, because they're on European power, and you just plug a little adapter in, and most battery things now are, they tolerate either American standard power or the European standard power, computers, charging batteries and things, but you need the plug to get from our plugs into their plugs, so it's kind of just a little conduit that gets you from one to the next.
Yeah, so all of their plugs are the same you'd find in Spain.
Yeah.
What about the language?
With some people that was difficult. The captain spoke very little English. We were told that he spoke so little English that when we were shooting stuff, that if he wanted us out of the way, he would whistle and point. And that if we heard the whistle and we saw the point, that's where we were supposed to go. The rest of the crew was fairly good. We had a few things where they were trying to explain stuff to us. We're like, what? And they had the same thing where we're asking them questions and they're, what? But so there was some of that language problems, but for the most part, we did real well. They had we were lucky enough. There's a retired couple who's also American. They're on the ship. That we spent a lot of time asking them, how do the showers work? And they're like, oh, it works like this. Where do we do it breakfast? Like, oh, you do this, and because it is a self-contained, everyone's using the same stuff, and they can only carry so much stuff. So for lunches and breakfast and all that, they bring it up, put out what you need. You grab it, you eat it, you wash your own plate, you put everything back. The views were amazing. Oh, the food. Oh, God, the food.
Outstanding.
The breakfast was the only thing that they would just put out cereal, and you just made your own.
Toast and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Lunch and dinner, it was restaurant quality, like gourmet.
Spanish food. I mean, they've served a Spanish dish with rice and chicken, gazpacho they served, which is a cold, kind of a tomatoey kind of a soup. Just shrimp things and pork things, and that was the one thing I was worried about. I had power bars, nutrition bars, candy bars, cookies stashed in my bag. I ate them, but I never went hungry, and they were the friendliest people, and we had a wonderful time. And now we're here just covering the event, and which will be the last 45 minutes of the documentary. And I'm really glad I went, and I guess I can speak for Matt, because it was tough. We smelled horribly. Our clothes were dirty and
5 layers of different oil. We've got sunscreen on. We've got bug spray on.
Sweat.
We've got sweat. We've got tons of just covered with other stuff. It was a great time.
And the thing about English, you were asking about the English. The crews, they speak pretty good English because they have to talk to the tour groups that come aboard. So they do have a pretty good knowledge of English, but it's the English they need to know. A lot of times, a few of the guys came up to me and said, "Well, how do you say this?" Or "I'm trying to say this," and I would say it this way or say it this way. But we did interviews with the crew and with the different people on board. No problem whatsoever. We were blown away by the answers we got and the quality of what they knew, what we were kind of looking for, and I mean, they lived this life, and so we were just trying to get behind the scenes a little bit and kind of just go with them and see what happens. And we were thrilled, we had the opportunity, and we got gorgeous footage. Knock on wood, I hope. You never know until you really look at it, but for what we've seen through our camera lens, I mean, I was telling Matt, anywhere you point a camera on a ship that has rigging and blocks and all this kind of stuff, you're going to get beautiful shots. You just got to keep a little bit of an eye out for where's the sun at or where people are. But 95% of you just turn the camera on and point it up, you're going to get a Emmy Award shot. So we're really excited about it, and we can't wait to.
What were some of the highlights of the scenes?
Going by Detroit, we went by Detroit, and it was just dusk.
About 9:30.
About 9:30. So we had, the skies, this gorgeous multicolor. You got all the lights. The bridge, Ambassador Bridge, is lit up. And then we got the same thing. The next, we went to bed. We woke up the next morning, and we're at Port Huron. And we got the same thing. We got the sunrise. So we got the sky in like 40 different colors with the Port Huron Bridge, and boats just starting to go out into Huron for fishing and cruises and stuff like that. So we got a row of boats going out in front of us, and it was just gorgeous. Those two things were just gorgeous.
Yeah. You talked about the wind that kept you up there. What's it like for a ship like that?
The wind on traveling from Ohio to Lake Huron was a breeze.
Nothing.
It was flat, easy sailing. You're laying in the beds at night. You don't even feel like you're on a boat. The Thursday was a different story. I mean, it's literally like, and the waves in the lake are closer together, so there's more of this. Out in the ocean, they're more like, they're further apart, so you don't bounce as much, but you bounce a little higher. But it really wasn't an issue. That boat's 170 feet.
Yeah, the last day was a bit of there were points where you didn't want to be at either end.
Yeah,
you could be in the middle. If it really started getting to you, you get to the middle, and then you're only doing this. But there was a few times, that was really the only time where walking became difficult, because you'd be walking along and then it would move, and suddenly you're walking in a different direction.
Yeah.
And you're still kind of going forward, but now it's sort of like, you'd had a few too many, or you're watching a toddler try to cross a room.
And the one thing that I noticed shooting on, especially that Thursday, because we decided that this storm or windstorm, whatever you want to call it, gale, I think they call it a gale, was going to be part of the documentary. And just because we were out there, the crew was still working. I mean, they work all the time, no matter if they're just cruising along the lake. They have jobs to do. They're hanging over the edge, fixing things, and power tools are out, and they're cutting and that type of stuff. Well, we had to cover that too. So the part that made me a little queasy was seeing the rail of the ship and the water behind it, and it would go like this. So I would set my shot and know that it's a good shot, and then I would look out and just let it roll. So because if you're looking down a lot and the boat's going like this, you get a little queasy. I took a little Dramamine only as a precaution, nothing close to being sick, but I said, why take a chance? And so we survived, and it's something. I was saying to Matt and Marshall, I said, this is something we'll never forget, and we have a record of it. I mean, we were shooting each other shooting the documentary, because that's part of what we want to include in the documentary is how you pull something like this off in a confined space like that. We wanted to show our viewers just kind of what we went through to bring this to them. So we have a record of that, and once this finished thing will be done, we'll be able to have it forever and remember. I mean, like Matt said, a year from now or 2 years from now, we'll be watching it and remembering stuff.
Yeah. Trying to
Telling
remember
people.
what we, yeah.
Is there, like, have you documented this online at all? Or
No, I mean we're going to have a website and things, but all our footage is still on our little drives, and
We sent a few selfies and stuff like that back to our webmaster at the station, deltabroadcasting.org. We don't know if he's got anything up yet, but I know that when we first started showing up, we didn't do the after. We did a before where the three of us got together and we did a selfie, and then we thought about it, and then we kind of looked at each other after 4 days and went, "Nah, I don't want to do an after selfie." No one wants to see that. So,
yeah. But you also got to remember, out in the middle lake here, on the cell service isn't great.
Yeah.
There was actually none for a while, so it's hard to get stuff back. And I imagine next week when we get back, I took my photo camera too, and I took a whole bunch of photos there, and we'll give them to the web guy, and he'll post them, and a few videos off my cell phone that I took, and some stuff we shot we'll put up. But it's really hard to, unless you have somebody dedicated to do that. You got so much other stuff to think about that, to me that wasn't the important thing. The important thing was capturing what we were seeing and experiencing, and I think we did that quite well, and we're really excited to get back to it.
I think people are going to be excited about seeing it. When is it going to happen, and how can they get more information?
The documentary is scheduled to be broadcast, the premiere of it, in March of 2017 on our station, WDCQ. It's going to be used as a pledge event. We usually use the programs that we create for pledge events. We usually use them for about a year and a half, and then we offer them statewide and national to the different PBS stations, and it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to pick it up. It's going to be a 90-minute program, we think. We might have to edit down to a 60-minute program to get the other stations to pick it up. So that's planned to do that, but for us, we use it more internally for our fundraising to raise money. This will be, I think, our 10th documentary, and they've been really successful, and people pledge around them, and they like what we're doing, and they want us to continue, and that's why we're doing them, is because they said, yeah, do more, and they supported. They called in and said, yeah, keep doing these. Most of them were, in fact, 90% of them were local history. We've done things on the logging era of this history. When trains first came to the area, we've interviewed World War II veterans. We followed them to Washington, D.C. to see the World War II Memorial for the first time. We did things on the Korean War. We did one show on what this area did during World War II to support the war effort. There was Dow Chemical, Dow Corning, Defoe Shipbuilding was just back there. They put out 153 ships they built in 3 years. The gun plant in Saginaw made over 1 million machine guns. This area was really big. It really was part of the arsenal of democracy. So we covered that, and we did all different kinds of things. This is a little bit different because it's history, but it's kind of like living history. So we're hoping maybe this puts us in a little different direction rather than looking back. We're looking kind of to the present and what things are going on. And so we're really excited to get started on it. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of writing, but we're super excited about it. So.
Who's the producer? Okay, so and then.
Well, they're going to be co-producers, Matt and Marshall, yeah.
Well, I'm sure people are going to have questions. Is there a way they can write you? Just ask you. I mean, I keep thinking of questions myself.
Sure. I mean, they could just visit the web page, right? The web page.
Yep.
We have an email address on the web page, wdcq@delta.edu.
Yep, wdcq@delta.edu
is our email address to the station, and then you can just address it.
I'm looking forward to it.
This is
exciting.
Yeah, it really is. We're really looking forward to it, and we're really appreciative to the station to give us the opportunity. And we just want to thank everybody on the ship, for being super. I mean, and the people here who run the festival, you know, Bay Sail and everybody who put this on helped us in any way they possibly could. And you know, we're really excited and we can't wait to get editing. So
I can't wait to see it. And you guys,
just in any way we possibly could. And you know, we're really excited and we can't wait to get editing. So
I can't wait to see it. And you guys are great. Thanks. Thank you for taking the time and talking to us.
thank you.
We'll be back.
Yeah, I'm going to do voiceover when I grab my phone. Huh? Oh, I'll just be looking down. Okay. Hey everyone, hope you are enjoying the Tall Ships celebration here in downtown Bay City. It's a beautiful day, nice and sunny out here. And we also have many other events coming up in the Great Lakes Bay region. So we hope you come out and see us at our other upcoming events. And I'll go ahead and name some so you can mark your calendar. Blues, Brews, and Barbecue is coming up at the Bertrand Premium Outlets July 29th through 30th. Here at Winona Park in downtown Bay City, there's a new festival coming called Hop Riot. There's going to be 45 craft breweries there. Frankenmuth Auto Fest is coming up September 9th through the 11th, as well as Oktoberfest September 15th through the 18th. The Northwood Auto Show is coming to Midland, Michigan, September 30th through October 2nd. And one coming to Saginaw is the Riverside Saginaw Film Festival, and that's in November. Another one coming to the Bertrand Premium Outlets is Dear Widows Weekend. So we hope you come out and join us at one of these fabulous events, and we hope you continue to enjoy the Tall Ship celebration. One coming to Saginaw is the Riverside Saginaw Film Festival, and that's in November. Another one coming to the Bertrand Premium Outlets is Dear Widows Weekend. So we hope you come out and join us at one of these fabulous events, and we hope you continue to enjoy the Tall Ship celebration. That's great.
She's going to start, and then we go to the phone.
Go over here.
Yeah, stay there. Lighting is great.
Lighting is good.
Hello. Hi. My name's Jen.
You put it wherever you want.
I heard your voice from here from the center side. The shadow is just so bright, you know.
Oh, right. So, and I can look at my phone though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a little bit,
Yeah.
and then pretend like you're going to be reading it.
Okay. Is that
If you want to look up every once in a while and do that, that's fine.
okay? Cool. I mean, I'm just gonna go over the events for the rest of the weekend and then kind of like summarize what's going on. So I just want to make sure I say the times right. But
hello everyone, my name is Kimberly and I'm the travel expert here in Bay City and we're at the Tall Ships Celebration. I just kind of want to summarize what's going on for the rest of the weekend so you know if you decide that you want to come after viewing our live feed. So today until 5 p.m. both parks will be open, Veterans Memorial Park and Winona Park. And you can get tickets at both places. They're $10 for admission into the parks and then $10 for a passport that you can use throughout the whole weekend, so today and tomorrow. And then tonight, the parks will open again at 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And here you can walk around and just look at the ships, but you won't be able to do any deck tours. But then opening again on Sunday at 10 a.m. you can do the deck tours then. And Ballads and Brews will start tonight at 7 p.m. And it'll go until 11 p.m. And you'll be able to listen to some great music and bring some friends. And this is in Veterans Park as well. And then a really cool thing you can do, it's called Rock the Dock, and that will be in Winona Park. Starting at 7 p.m. and you can buy your ticket. It's $50 per person. And then on Sunday, the park will be open 10 to 5, and at 7:30, the Ballads and Brews closes. So that will end earlier than it usually does. And again, that will start at 5. And then on Monday, the ships will be departing depending on weather. So you'll want to get out here and see them, or stay tuned and keep watching what's going on here. Was that okay? Okay.
Very good.
Cool, cool. Oh. What's going on here? Was that okay? Okay.
Very good.
Cool, cool. Oh.
You thought we were over that?
Yeah, I was going to say over so you guys can have a conversation with him.
We don't know how many times.
The Dennis Sullivan is named for Captain Dennis Sullivan. He was the captain of a vessel called the Moonlight, which is one of the 5 boats that we used when we were designing the vessel to kind of find our historical accuracy. Dennis Sullivan was famous. He made the most recorded trips between Milwaukee and Buffalo, New York in a season. I can't tell you exactly what that number is, but it's upwards of 50 from what I recall. So when we were building the boat didn't have a name until family members of Dennis Sullivan came along, gave us a great donation, and so we essentially bought the naming rights. Historically, a boat this size carrying cargo on the Great Lakes would carry between 4 and 6 people. We usually like to stay between 8 and 12 people. It's a much cozier number for us. Just helps us get all the sails, talk to people, all that kind of stuff. The crew's from all over. The boat's out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but our captain is from Erie, Pennsylvania. Our second captain is from West Virginia. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota. We've got one from Florida, California, Delaware, so all over. This is my job, believe it or not. This is a full-time career for me as a professional mariner. There's a lot that I love about it, but definitely getting out sailing. I really enjoy doing maintenance, so actually working on the boat, fixing stuff, making her look good. But yeah, nothing beats being underway for a good long period of time.
We teach environmental science, biology on board, as well as ecology of the Great Lakes. We teach nautical sciences, being that it's a sailing vessel. So navigation, we're reinforcing the things they're teaching in school for real world applications, like those torture devices of algebra back in high school. You think you're never going to use it, but then we show them we use algebra all the time to navigate the ship. Yeah, when we were coming from our last port, we didn't have any students on, but from Milwaukee to Fairport, Ohio, we had 18 high schoolers on board for a week, actually 8 days. And they just become part of the ship's crew by the end. They don't even want to leave. And when we leave Bay City, we'll actually have about 16 students from this area going with us to Chicago. And you know, and the most amazing thing, you see this young person come on board with one aspect that they've never done anything like this before, and when they leave, they're different. Something changes, and the parents always tell me that. They said, I can see a change right away in just the way they think about things, and you know, team building. This is leadership and team building experience as well. Not one person can sail this boat. It takes a team of people. Yeah, they get seasick. It's funny when they tell the stories. I hear the seas get bigger and bigger and bigger with each time they tell the story, and it might have only been 3 feet.
So we started in Fairport Harbor. We were left there on Monday morning, and we had a race out of Fairport Harbor, which we raced up to Pelee Passage. And I can say with certainty that Niagara had the best time for the race. We don't know if we won yet because it's corrected time. We'll find out on Sunday night. Then we went up through the Detroit River, Lake St. Clair River, which is a pretty normal passage for us. We do it pretty regularly. Then we were able to set sail and sail up Lake Huron. I didn't actually have to start motoring until we got into Saginaw Bay. And as you probably know, there was a little bit of wind yesterday, which actually kept us from coming in. We didn't get in until 10:30 last night. So we were out in Saginaw Bay just waiting. It was blowing about 35 knots, which for any boat is a lot of wind. So it took us a little bit of time, so we just sort of jogged around out there, and ended up being an interesting procession because it was Draken, us, and then El Galion. So the three, big ships all had to wait to come in because we couldn't get through the bridges and the tight, passages of this river. So it took us a little while to get in here, but once we get in, we announced our presence with a bang. I'm sure everyone in Bay City could actually hear the guns when we fired them off as we came in last night. They're very big guns.
Now, how many people do you have?
Currently we have 38 people, but leaving Bay City will be up to 49. Because we're changing out. We're going from one group to another group. So we have 18 professional crew members, and then we have trainees that come and go. So our trainee program is usually high school or college based. We do some adult programs as well, and they run about 2 to 3 weeks. So people actually, pay to come on for this experience. So right now we're in our second high school program of the summer that we run, and the cost for our program is $1,500 per student for any of our programs, whether it's a 2-week program, a 3-week program, whatever it is. So people come out and stay with us all summer long. We're sold out for 2016, but we're definitely accepting applications for 2017. We don't do guided tours, but what we do is we have our people stationed all over the ship. So when someone comes on board Niagara to tour, you can in essence stay here as long as you want. You come on board, they'll have someone up forward to talk to you about a little bit of the history. You come aft here, someone's talking about the gun. On Niagara, you actually get to go down below and see where the crew eat and sleep. And then you see where we steer the ship, because we steer at the tiller. We don't have a wheel. Everyone always asks, they want a picture beside our wheel. We don't have one. We have a tiller. And so we position people all over the ship, so you can kind of go to the thing that interests you the most, and you can talk to one of our crew members about that. So it's an interesting tour. It's not necessarily, we take a group and walk them through. We'll have 200 people on deck pretty much throughout the day. Niagara was built very quickly in 1813 for the Battle of Lake Erie during the War of 1812. And we think that there wasn't a wheel. We don't know for sure, but we're assuming that it didn't have a wheel because a wheel takes more time. So we steer the same way you steer a 420 or a Colgate or J24. It's just a little stick coming off the rudder, except in our situation it's a very, very big piece of wood.
How many people do
It takes 2 people. We actually have tackles on either side of the tiller, to haul that tiller from one side to the other because it's so heavy. We can row Niagara. So one of the things you can actually see is we have sweep ports and we have our sweeps. You actually see the oars that we use to row Niagara. And the best thing about getting a tour of this ship is coming down and having the opportunity to speak to our crew and talk to our trainees, to speak to the high school students that have been on board for the past 2.5 weeks and learn their story and learn what it's like to be a part of a ship like this. And we really hope to see everybody come down and check us out over the next couple of days.
add something else? Welcome to Bay City. We're live in Bay City.
Like this. And we really hope to see everybody come down and check us out over the next couple of days.
decided that this store.
I want to go and see that.
No, Sig, no. I'm going to look at how long the other boat rides are. I'm staying with one. Well, he's running off with it.
Okay, no, you have to stay with Dad.
You want to stay with me or do you want to stay with me?
St. Clair River, which is a pretty normal passage for us. We do it pretty regularly. Then we were able to set sail and sail up Lake Huron. I didn't actually have to start motoring until we got into Saginaw Bay. And as you probably know, there was a little bit of wind yesterday, which actually kept us from coming in. We didn't get in until 10:30 last night. So we were out in Saginaw Bay just waiting.
The Dennis Sullivan is named for Captain Dennis Sullivan. He was the captain of a vessel called the Moonlight, which is one of the 5 boats that we used when we were designing the vessel to kind of find our historical accuracy. Dennis Sullivan was famous. He made the most recorded trips between Milwaukee and Buffalo, New York in a season. I can't tell you exactly what that number is, but it's upwards of 50 from what I recall. So when we were building the boat didn't have a name until family members of Dennis Sullivan came along, gave us a great donation, and so we essentially bought the naming rights. Historically, a boat this size carrying cargo on the Great Lakes would carry between 4 and 6 people. We usually like to stay between 8 and 12 people. It's a much cozier number for us. Just helps us get all the sails, talk to people, all that kind of stuff. The crew's from all over. The boat's out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but our captain is from Erie, Pennsylvania. Our second captain is from West Virginia. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota. We've got one from Florida, California, Delaware. So all over. This is my job, believe it or not. This is a full-time career for me as a professional mariner. There's a lot that I love about it, but definitely getting out sailing. I really enjoy doing maintenance, so actually working on the boat, fixing stuff, making her look good. But yeah, nothing beats being underway for a good long period of time.
We teach environmental science, biology on board, as well as ecology of the Great Lakes. We teach nautical sciences, being that it's a sailing vessel. So navigation, we're reinforcing the things they're teaching in school for real-world applications, like those torture devices of algebra back in high school. You think you're never going to use it, but then we show them we use algebra all the time to navigate the ship. Yeah, when we were coming from our last port, we didn't have any students on, but from Milwaukee to Fairport, Ohio, we had 18 high schoolers on board for a week, actually 8 days, and they just become part of the ship's crew by the end. They don't even want to leave. And when we leave Bay City, we'll actually have about 16 students from this area going with us to Chicago. And you know, and the most amazing thing, you see this young person come on board with one aspect that they've never done anything like this before, and when they leave, they're different. Something changes, and the parents always tell me that. They said, I can see a change right away in just the way they think about things, and you know, team building. This is leadership and team building experience as well. Not one person can sail this boat. It takes a team of people. Yeah, I think it's bigger and bigger with each time they tell the story, and it might have only been 3 feet.
Hey everyone, hope you are enjoying the Tall Ships celebration here in downtown Bay City. It's a beautiful day, nice and sunny out here. And we also have many other events coming up in the Great Lakes Bay region. So we hope you come out and see us at our other upcoming events, and I'll go ahead and name some so you can mark your calendar. Blues, Brews, and Barbecue is coming up at the Bertrand Premium Outlets July 29th through 30th. Here at Winona Park in downtown Bay City, there's a new festival coming called Hop Riot. There's going to be 45 craft breweries there. Frankenmuth Auto
Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly and I'm the travel expert here in Bay City, and we're at the Tall Ships celebration. I just kind of want to summarize what's going on for the rest of the weekend so you know if you decide that you want to come after viewing our live feed. So today until 5 p.m. both parks will be open, Veterans Memorial Park and Winona Park. And you can get tickets at both places. They're $10 for admission into the parks and then $10 for a passport that you can use throughout the whole weekend, so today and tomorrow. And then tonight, the parks will open again at 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And here you can walk around and just look at the ships, but you won't be able to do any deck tours. But then opening again on Sunday at 10 a.m. you can do the deck tours then. And Ballads and Brews will start tonight at 7 p.m. And it'll go until 11 p.m. and you'll be able to listen to some great music and bring some friends. And this is in Veterans Park as well. And then a really cool thing you can do is called Rock the Dock, and that will be in Winona Park starting at 7 p.m. And you can buy your ticket. It's $50 per person. And then on Sunday, the park will be open 10 to 5, and at 7:30, the Ballads and Brews closes. So that will end earlier than it usually does. And again, that will start at 5. And then on Monday, the ships will be departing depending on weather. So you'll want to get out here and see them, or stay tuned and keep watching what's going on here. Was that okay? Okay.
Very good.
Cool, cool. Oh.
Okay, I know you've enjoyed what you've seen so far live today at the Bay City Tall Ships. So get in your car, come on up here to Bay City, Michigan, and enjoy the celebration.